We begin with that gruesome murder investigation in Queens. Police have just identified the victim, and now investigators are asking anyone with information to call them. CBS 2's Kieran Dillon is live in Forest Hills with the new developments. Kieran?
Jessica, it was a horrific scene here in Queens after a woman's body was found inside of a duffel bag earlier today. Police say
this is a quiet neighborhood, so nothing happens around here.
Surveillance video captured what appears to be someone dragging the duffel bag on the sidewalk hours earlier.
Orsolya Gaal was a 51-year-old Hungarian woman who resided in the Forest Hills section of Queens, New York. Orsolya was married to a man by the name of Howard Gary Klein, with whom she shared 2 children, Jamie, 17, and Leo, 13 years old. Orsolya was a family woman who enjoyed her time with loved ones and who also had a knack for traveling, visiting many countries over the years, countries such as Budapest, Turks and Caicos, Beijing, China, Guatemala, and many others. Orsolya attended business school in Budapest, studying international management and business, according to her Facebook page. This is where she met her husband Howard, who was an investment banker in Budapest in the 90s. Mr. Klein found success as a partner and founder of RK Equity, an advisory investment firm focused on lithium-ion batteries and technology metals. The devoted mother of 2 regularly updated her page with pictures of family, friends, and of her travels. Gaal was also an avid hiker, animal lover, and skier. She would enjoy regular trips to the beach with her 2 sons amid the pandemic, even if just for a walk in the fresh air. She was described by neighbors as friendly and a wonderful person who was attentive to the people she cared for the most. Her and the rest of the family lived in the Forest Hills section of New York for about a decade, according to neighbors. And for every one of those years, she was focused on her family. From the outside looking in, Gaal lived a seemingly perfect life. She had those she cared for, and she got to see the world in ways many others haven't. But just a few short months into the new year, the perfect family would be forever torn apart, when tragedy struck. On the evening of Friday, April 15th, Gaal was seen in her backyard with her dog by her neighbor, John Blankson. As the night went on, she informed her son, 13-year-old Leo, that she would be meeting with friends and attending a show at Lincoln Center on Manhattan's Upper West Side. After the show, Gaal returned to her neighborhood of Forest Hills, and she entered a local bar, Forest Hills Station House, not far from her home, where she sat about 40 minutes, apparently waiting for someone. She ordered her usual favorite, a Moscow Mule. She left and returned to her home on Juno Street at about 12:30 a.m. While at the home, Gaal's 13-year-old son would spend his time at the family's top floor, when at some point someone came to the home. Whatever occurred once this person found themselves in Gaal's home is up for question, but one thing that's clear is that a brutal assault took place. According to the medical examiner, Gaal was attacked and stabbed many times in the left arm, neck, torso, and hands, indicating Gaal tried to defend herself and fight her attacker off. Investigators believe that Gaal might have been attacked in her living room and brought down to the basement after the attack, her unsuspecting 13-year-old just a few floors above, sleeping. Chilling video caught on neighborhood surveillance shows what appears to be a man dragging a duffel bag down the street from the direction of Gaal's home. A little after 8 a.m. that morning, dog walker Glenn Van Nostrand was walking his dogs along Metropolitan Ave by the Jackie Robinson Parkway when his dogs were drawn to the scent coming from a bag that lied on the street. He looked inside and thought he was looking at a mannequin, but quickly realized that this was an actual dead body. He called authorities at 8:11 a.m. A short time later, Mr. Klein would receive a disturbing text sent from his wife's phone that read, "Your whole family is next. Your wife sent me to jail some years ago when you were living near Austin Street in Forest Hills. I'm back. Don't call the police or I will kill your family." Mr. Klein and his older son Jamie were reportedly out of town, scouting for colleges when they received this text. They called authorities, explaining that their family was in danger. Detectives working closely on the case would reveal that they were focusing on multiple suspects or people of interest. That's until they had a much better idea of who might be responsible. On Wednesday, April 20th, at around 10:45 p.m., detectives closed in and visited a suspect's neighborhood in South Ozone Park. As they prepared to visit the home of the suspect, they spotted someone in the street with bandages wrapped around his hand. That same man then approached detectives and simply stated, "I heard you are looking for me." That man was David Bonola, a 44-year-old man who was also separated from his wife, who was also a parent to 2 children. According to authorities, Bonola was a former lover of Gaal's. Bonola got to know Gaal when he previously did work on her home as a handyman. He knew how to make his way into the home without being detected, and also knew he could find a spare key hidden in the barbecue grill outside of the home. According to Facebook posts, Bonola was often seen being affectionate toward Gaal online, where he would leave comments on her pictures such as, "She is the most beautiful woman." In a picture that Gaal uploaded showing her vacationing in Guatemala, Bonola would write, "Love these streets and architecture, that landscape and the giant volcano, and you." Some of these comments on the public page received likes from Gaal, and some as far back as 2 years, indicated this could have started as far back as then. Bonola had a pair of arrests from a long time ago, but no idea what those arrests are for since those records are sealed. He expressed having previous relationships with Gaal, although it's unclear how long ago the affair ended, if we are to believe the words of the prime suspect. He stated that he came into the home and Gaal wasn't expecting him. He and Gaal began to argue when Orsolya made it clear that she didn't want to go on with their relationship. She wanted to end the affair. The two were seeing each other as recently as earlier this month, according to sources close to the case. Their relationship had been on again, off again for the last 2 years. The argument escalated, and that's when Bonola took a knife he had grabbed from the kitchen and proceeded to attack Gaal on the first floor of the family home. He then dragged her down to the basement and continued the attack, bringing the total of stab wounds to 58, clearly personal and clearly with the intent to kill. Having not planned the murder, Bonola then took the first thing he could find, a large duffel bag originally intended to carry hockey equipment, the bag belonging to her son. He stuffed Gaal's blood-covered body into the duffel bag and made his way out of the home. As he walked through the neighborhood with Gaal's body in the bag, doorbell surveillance would show Bonola making his way down the block, wheeling the striking young woman's slain body behind him. He would leave the bag containing Gaal's remains about 10 blocks away. When she was found, a trail of blood led authorities straight back to Gaal's home. Bonola's jacket was recovered in Forest Park, not far from where her remains were found. His boots, t-shirt, and bloody bandages were found at another location. Bonola faces charges of murder, criminal tampering, and possession of a deadly weapon. A seemingly perfect life in a relatively safe neighborhood with family and loved ones ended in tragedy because one half of the two parties didn't agree with the other's decision to move on without them. Papers might be quick to label this a crime of passion, when in reality, this was just another monster who didn't get his way and wanted to make sure that if he couldn't have Orsolya, nobody could, not even her own children. Rest in peace to Orsolya Gaal, and my deepest condolences go out to her family and loved ones.